Regular meeting of the Library Board of Trustees, Tuesday, November 17, 2015. I call the meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Shubanka is absent. Trustee Lex.
Present.
Trustee Das Magboal.
Present.
Vice President Encarnacion.
Here.
And President Galleon.
Here. Have you read the agenda? I need an approval for the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I second that.
Okay, the agenda has been approved. Everybody say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So
I
it's
move to
approved.
approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Motion to approve. Who's
Okay, so the
sec-
minutes,
Second.
so the minutes has been approved. Everybody, anything, but
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Now we go to the director's report.
A
about-
very, very brief update this evening. At our last meeting, we did talk about the Ceremony Library main floor bathroom accessibility project. Oh, and on command there it pops up. So not a lot changed in the last month. The contract has been awarded to an architect out of San Mateo. We had comments on the initial design. In red there, you can see the highlighted comments. So essentially, if you can visualize where that bathroom is today, it will be expanded slightly. I want to say about 4 feet out towards the east. And the men's restroom, as you're looking at the plans on the screen, will be on the left. And initially, they had the door opening into the children's area of the library that we found a little bit not quite right. So they've reconfigured the door opening, will now open on that eastern wall. And then the women's restroom will be on the south side, and the entrance there will open near the area of the front desk. And the drinking fountain is going to be relocated up towards the front there, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. And as all these projects do, it's taking time. It hopefully will be in the final stage of design, and then they'll get the contract out. It will certainly cause some disruption during the construction, and we anticipate 3 to 5 weeks for actual hard construction taking place. That area will be draped off in plastic, is my understanding, so we will not have a functioning bathroom on that floor during the time. As alternatives, we considered a few things, including parking portable restrooms in a trailer out front. It would be a little bit tricky with connections and such, so it looks like the plan will be to direct people to the library the restrooms attached to the exterior of the Gellert Clubhouse there at Gellert Park, which, by the way, appear to be a little bit more accessible than our current bathrooms. So we will give you an update again when we next meet, but it's moving forward ever so slowly, but in the right direction. So, this project, just to remind people that may be watching or interested, is funded mostly by a Measure A grant from San Mateo County. Measure A was the sales tax initiative that voters passed a couple years ago, and the rest is coming out of the city's general fund. But this is a project that's long overdue, and the first step of making the 1975 Ceremony Library a little bit more contemporary in terms of access.
It's an
Of course.
we need a new library.
Yeah, the number one wish list item for Ceremony Library for me is an elevator to make the downstairs community room a lot more accessible than it is today. So we actually have an elevator design firm putting together a rough proposal. We walked through with some engineers again last week. I think that's about the third time I've done that walkthrough. with engineers. They understand the needs, and it's going to be a little bit tricky. That building, since it was built in 1975, didn't anticipate the electrical needs that we have today. So the building is literally maxed out with all the computer terminals and lights and everything. So it'd be bringing a new circuit in to power the elevator, and then they're weighing the options of which wall would be the easiest construction. And I don't know anything about elevators, but the standard elevator like we have here, for instance, there's a pit and it's a hydraulic lift up and down. Evidently, there are some elevators that are propelled from a mechanism at the top rather than the bottom. They think that might be a little bit easier than retrofitting a big pit next to that building. So they're looking at all those options. Their preliminary guesstimate would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000, which of course we don't have, but at least we have a target to shoot for if they can come through with a little bit more concrete. And they're not going to design it all out, but maybe what the electrical cost would be in the pit versus the mechanical pulley thing. So to give us a starting point to shoot, maybe there might be some grants or other funding sources out there to make that happen one day too.
Right. I'm just curious, what's the cost of the bathroom renovation?
The bathroom renovation, and I neglected to mention, also includes new automatic doors at the front entrance. Right now, we don't have that, and the whole package is supposed to come in under $150,000. So,
wow, that sounds good.
Yeah, for one of our public works projects, this is small potatoes. $150,000 would go a long way, I know, on a home improvement project, but when you get into public facilities and realignment of plumbing and all of that, plus having the professional drawings from an architect, the price goes up a little bit, but it's supposed to all come in under $150. And like I said, I neglected to say that right now we have old school doors that you pull open. Those would looks like it will be replaced, contrary to that drawing, with doors that slide.
Is it
open.
Similar to the Westlake branch?
Hopefully that worked better than that.
But similar to?
Similar, but we've
More
been told
upgraded,
that the state of the art for sliding doors has come a long way, and they're a lot more dependable, more fluid, and we've been plagued by breakdowns at the Westlake Library with those doors, but certainly makes it a lot easier for somebody with any level of disability to get in and out of there, because right now they you depend on somebody holding the door open, and it'd be nice to have the sliding automatic doors there.
Do have
Ideally, there would be an escape hatch in the event that those doors failed. There would be a push bar to get out, and that's unfortunately not the way those doors work. And there's not another door there. The emergency exit's quite a bit of ways. No one will be trapped in the building.
Do we have a ballpark when it will start, the actual construction?
The construction, they have not given us a firm deadline. I think it's dependent on having the engineers approve
design.
100%. I think they're estimating that the design is at 65% now. When it hits 100% and it's approved, then they
start.
go out with a contract.
That's good news for everybody.
And that concludes that report. Go ahead and hide that. The next item is a city budget update.
Budget, yeah.
And again, we're a little bit ahead of the curve on this, but not by much,
Okay.
because I did have the initial meeting with the finance director last week, who has tasked us to come up with our anticipated budgets for the next 2 fiscal years. So that would be fiscal year 16-17 and 17-18, as well as comparing our projected outcomes for this current budget cycle with the actuals versus what was budgeted.
Right.
So we are in the process of putting that together. We hope to give the finance director some preliminary numbers on Friday of this week, actually. And he has scheduled out a series of work, or what do they call them? Study sessions with the city council and with the city manager up through May of next year. So strangely enough, the night that the Department of Library and Recreation was initially scheduled to go, it conflicted with one of our meetings here. So he's in the process of juggling that schedule, and I'll give you the updated list when we meet again. So you'd certainly be welcome to attend that meeting. Any questions about that?
Any questions?
I will just give you the teaser that, the budget situation in Daly City, as it has been since 2008, it's very, very tight. Despite the increases in sales tax and property tax, the expenditures have grown at a quicker pace than the revenues. So there is a gap there. So the City Council will be looking and scrutinizing every single department and program and function to see if there's anything to whittle away. So it may or may not be something that affects us, and we'll go forward and see.
Do we pretty much consume the budget that we're allocated each year, or do we tend to come in under or go over a little bit?
And I, because I'm the director of the Department of Library and Recreation Services, tend to look at the big overall picture, and there's a razor thin margin. We've been steadily coming under, and thankfully, in a large part, to a boost in revenues on the recreation side. It helps the overall department budget out a little bit. And we're hoping that trend continues too. You might recall there was a pretty dramatic shift in about 2011 where a lot of the traditional recreation programs that were free are now fee-based. And they're still impacted, full participation at the limit, especially with our summer programs. So there's some room there to recapture some revenue, lower the subsidy a little bit, and we've been coming up pretty close to the target.
Yeah, good work.
And and you saw a meeting a couple months ago. Our staffing ratios are at the very bottom, which is unfortunate. And I'm going to continue to reinforce that. There is no more meat on the bone to cut on the library side. We are at an absolute bare bones staffing level now, to the point where when people take vacations or have sick times, it really is a little bit of a panic to shift bodies around to make sure we can, keep the doors open and our customers happy. But there's not much more that we can cut. So we'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Trustees report.
I think Shayla may initiate that discussion.
At the last meeting, there was a request to revisit the production of an annual report authored by a member or multiple members of the board. So I went ahead and looked through some of our archives and pulled out the copies I could readily find of past reports, just to refresh your memory, or for those of you who've never had an opportunity to see what it looks like. This is what it was. It could be something different going forward, but just for you to launch your discussion if this is something that you want to take on for this year. Or
Any comments, Bill?
I thought it was a good way to represent what the library actually accomplishes in a sort of summary fashion, and to keep our general public better informed about library services. Not only in terms of what we've done, but for some people this might be news. Oh, they've got a program for such and such, I'll look into it for next year, and that kind of thing. So I'm generally in favor of us producing such a report. But the practice was, which we don't have to continue, for a trustee to, in cooperation and coordination with the library staff, to produce this report. So we have to be willing to take on that responsibility.
I have to second that. I am interested in, moving forward to putting something like this together, but I do realize that it is time consuming because it's a summary of all the events that are put together by the library. And unfortunately, I know for myself as a trustee, I don't have all that information available. And so I will be, if I should be assigned this task, I'm going to be relying on staff time, to provide me some information. And as you two have mentioned, we're kind of operating bare bones right now. So in terms of feasibility, in getting the information that needs to be on here, maybe we should talk about that a little bit more. We don't have to continue with the way it's formatted here. Perhaps we can come up with something different, maybe more of a bullet point instead of like a narrative form.
And whether or not you would want a bulk printed document, or want it to be more of an electronic document.
Or a combination of the two.
Right. You know, Arlene, as you speak, I remember when I did mine that I went back and reviewed the minutes from the meetings, because the minutes capture to a great degree what we've done. And that really provided a basis for the report. And, you know,
Through the president, I might suggest, it sounds like there are at least two of you that are gravitating towards this assignment, and maybe forming a subcommittee to work with us. And I think, the first thing I think, if we're going to do an annual report, and I agree, I think it's a good tool to have, is maybe, just come up with a laundry list of what we think would be important content. And I agree that perhaps going over, previous meetings for some of that content might be an easy way to get going.
right.
I think we have a story to tell, and both, the wonderful things we achieve, and how we do them too. I think, it's good to be honest and upfront. If you recall that meeting we had, that we reviewed how we compare with other libraries in a whole bunch of categories. I think that was very eye-opening to
Right.
see that data, and maybe that's something, for example, that might be worth sharing. I think, highlighting summer learning, I think, would be
Mhm.
an awesome
It's very good this year.
to do. But maybe a
Also
discussion
for-
with the
yeah.
subcommittee, and we can sort of brainstorm on what the content should be, and then we can worry about, writing it or formatting it. But just a thought.
Do you think we have enough time? It's almost the end of the year.
Well, I think this actually usually came out at the start, in February or so.
I was going to say in the
Yeah.
spring, I think,
Oh, okay.
late winter, early spring, by the time it was published and ready to distribute.
And I assume it was a calendar year annual report versus, we run on fiscal years, but we
Mhm.
can certainly.
I think
it.
it was an annual.
I think the real world probably might relate better to a calendar year.
Yes.
Yeah, January to December.
I'm
Right.
sure they
So
would.
in that regards, the timing's perfect.
Mhm. Okay, let's talk about
A
it.
subcommittee?
Yeah, subcommittee. So,
It looks like it's,
You want to do it
Roderick?
with me?
Yeah, I'm supportive of it. I'm down to work with you.
so
Yeah.
it can, we have to make time to
Yeah.
go to the library and,
There's a maximum of 2.
Yeah, if
Some
if
notes.
we're heading to the direction of committee, when we have our Brown Act session, they'll remind you, the committee can only be comprised of two
Right.
members. At any one time, I suppose you could have two committees
Interchange,
that
right,
kick it around
right.
separately, but,
Can I ask a question? Like, what was the process of how the past board members went about putting this together?
I would ask a fellow board member. I wasn't here the
Um,
last time.
Well, the trustee would get together with the library director,
Okay.
and the library, and I think just initially begin with the brainstorming session.
All right.
And that gave the library director a real opportunity to shape the newsletter or the report. And then as a trustee, I remember going back and reviewing the minutes. And in most cases, through the brainstorming, we had covered anything that was important.
Right.
But if there was
Okay.
something that we wanted to pull out or something we missed, it would usually show up in the minutes.
Gotcha. Okay.
The main task, I think, of staff was to provide a photograph or two,
Mhm.
capturing people in action in libraries,
Mhm.
and maybe to do some fact-checking and help with formatting and laying it out and actually producing the document. But the writing, the basic drafting, was left to the trustee
Gotcha.
in coordination
With
with the library staff member, which is to say, you do a first draft, you send it in, gets marked up, comes back, do a second draft, and, you know, after 2 or 3 iterations, it's ready to go. It may not even be that complex, but,
And the flyers that we have help a lot. Because those are the programs.
right,
Those
yeah,
are the
that's part
programs
of it
that
too.
were introduced there. Okay,
I
let's
don't
go
know
to the
if-
brown
If
up
we
first.
need an action on this or not,
Well, we need to move from sort of agreeing to actually saying, Chayla, should we send you some times when we're available?
so just for clarification, you and Vice President
Well,
Carnos.
You know, continuing what we've done in the past, we didn't have a subcommittee when we started, it was just
a one
Just
member.
one.
individual,
Just
and
one
then,
trustee.
you know, one
the
trustee,
director.
right, one trustee would do it one year, then it would be, the
Okay.
torch would be passed on to another trustee the following year. I certainly, because I'm trying to think of the time, so I'm thinking, well, maybe Bill should spearhead this year.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how this goes, and then the following year, someone else can
Can do
take
it.
on the task, and we'll move along from there. So I don't know if a subcommittee is necessary at this point. We'll just,
A
I'm hoping
subcommittee
to
of-
rely on
committee of one.
Bill, a committee of one, and rely on his experience moving forward.
We're fine with that.
Okay. I'm willing to do that.
So we can talk offline then in terms of your schedule and when you want to get together.
Right.
Is there some stuff we can start on immediately, and if we're capturing data for a full year, you know, we might let the year finish, but there's plenty of stuff that I think we could start on now, and maybe by February have something to present to the board,
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I think
in
that would
hopes
be a
of
good
being ready
timetable.
to print it, publish it in March.
Yeah,
Sounds
for
like
the
a good
spring,
plan.
Yeah.
All right, why
You'll
don't
be
we,
busy.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
let's commit that in the minutes so we don't lose it and move ahead.
So do I say any motion or no?
Is there,
No?
You can
an
appoint me, I
action.
suppose.
Okay, I'll appoint Bill X to do
Any any opposition? No.
the annual report
Fully
for
support.
2015.
I think we can accept that. I don't know that we have to
Okay.
do a roll call or a formal vote.
So we don't need a motion.
We
No.
can, you know, it doesn't hurt if you want to do one. Is there a motion?
can anyone put forward the
A commi-
motion?
yeah.
I move that we produce an annual report by March 2016.
And I appoint Bill X to do it for the 2015.
As a friendly amendment to your motion.
I
Is there a
accept
second
that.
to that
I
motion?
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
They're very official. Thank you very much.
Sarah, well
Okay.
recorded.
Trustees report, library. Okay, we did that. And I would just like to report that Daly City Public Library Associates had a table during the project read, and I enjoyed it very much. And we have a team. They have a team.
And who was on the team?
Paula, she was past president of the CPLA, and then Mike, what's his name now? Mike. The two Mikes in the board. You know them. Can't remember. The one on the board.
Oh, Pacelli?
No.
No, it wasn't Mike Pacelli.
Uh,
Oh, right?
Tom Nerds?
the one who retired from the.
Tom Nerds.
Okay, yeah. And then another Mike.
Well, there was a
I was on the
team.
other- I was
It
on
was
the
a
other side of
team,
the
and,
room.
and they did very well because they went to the second round.
Yay.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they did very well. And it was funny because the questions were current news.
Hmm,
Current news, like, where is the Super Bowl for 2016?
Oh,
geez.
And all that, you have to know what's current, what's going on. But I always have fun there. And then they had auction as usual.
Was there a good turnout? Was the hall full?
Yeah, very good turnout, yeah.
Good.
And there were a lot of contestants. There were a lot of tables. And they had costumes.
Oh, yes.
That's always
So
the
they
fun
had
part.
prizes for the costumes.
Yes.
It's fun. It was fun. On a very, very cold night.
Uh-huh.
Quite cold. Yeah.
So, and then the Library Associates will have a retreat. Actually, they had a retreat yesterday. So for the November meeting. Okay, now we go to the agenda building for the next meeting. Oh, the Brown Act.
Yes, indeed.
We can include the Brown Act.
We can tackle that item first. We've had a discussion now, I think over a couple of meetings of trying to arrange a special session, separate and apart from your regular meeting, to have a review of the Brown Act, hopefully in conjunction with the Recreation Commission, and get everyone together for a joint meeting that would be facilitated by our city attorney. We had a similar meeting when the Arts and Culture Commission formed. It was one of the very first meetings they had, was to review, Robert's Rules of Order and the Brown Act. And I think it would be valuable, both for newcomers and for people that have been on the commission for a while. So we had tossed around a couple of dates. None have stuck yet, but what was the last date that we threw out there?
Wednesday, the first Wednesday,
First Wednesday.
December 2, was it?
No, I can't.
No,
Yeah.
December 1 is Tuesday, that's why.
No,
Or
I think we
December 3.
did, but December 2nd's not going to work.
December 3,
Oh,
Thursday?
God.
December 3, Thursday,
December 3rd is a Thursday.
Thursday.
Just a second.
I'm free on Thursdays.
Huh?
I'm free on Thursdays.
Okay, that's good then.
That particular Thursday does not work for me.
No, for me either.
How about the second Thursday? Let me see.
That's going to be the 10th.
No, that's one of the days we discussed. That's the,
Monday the 7th,
um,
as long as we're running through
Oh,
days.
no, Monday the 7th, I have a meeting.
Tuesday the 8th.
it's tough.
No,
December is
Tuesday
tough.
the 8th is not.
9th,
This is exactly how it goes at work too.
Ninth?
Wednesday the 9th?
I can't do Tuesdays or Wednesdays. 'Cause I work those
10th,
days.
Yeah, that's the one I can't do.
Yeah.
And Thursday? No?
I can't.
14th,
No, 14 is the
City council,
reorganization here.
the reorganization of the city council will be
I
that.
can't do it the 15th,
No, I can't do the 15th.
15 is our regular meeting, but I guess you're
the
not.
17th. Seems to me we already rejected that, but we'll try again.
That works for me.
I could do the
17th.
17th.
Oh, no,
But
it
that was
doesn't.
the
No, it
Christmas
doesn't.
show.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Huh?
The Christmas
It's
show.
our holiday party.
Well, my son's, I gotta check on his,
I guess I should probably.
because that's
get
the
that.
week before they get off
I know,
We
school.
just
just
change an
decided
appointment.
today.
Before they
Okay.
Yeah, so
Hours-
they've got,
Ours will be at 6 o'clock.
It doesn't have to be. This is a special meeting. We can pick a time and day that works for you.
I mean, starting in
No.
January, my calendar kind of frees up. So the Tuesdays I can meet.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily an item that we've got to rush to get on, but if
So
we
you're
can't
free
find
on
a day in this,
Thursday? You're
I'm free Tuesdays in January because I teach classes on Tuesdays. So I let my students.
How about 17?
Um,
December 17.
no, we've
oh, I thought that was the
Can't do it.
Christmas.
No,
we
we've
can't do
already-
that.
That's a Thursday.
yeah, it doesn't.
18 Friday.
I-
No.
Possibly.
It's all right with me.
I guess it depends on what time.
Hmm?
I think it depends on which time in that day.
What are we looking at?
18 Friday,
It's gonna have to be after hours for me.
after hours. How long would that be, an hour?
You'd
or-
have to get an attorney to.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's, we may all find a day that works for us and it may not work for them. So anything we decide.
Maybe we
on-
should ask the attorney first what.
Well, I think there's more of us.
Right.
If we can pick a date.
We're harder to schedule.
I
We
think
can
so.
have 2 dates, and then let's
Yeah,
see.
but so far, I don't think we've come up with a date that works.
Not even one.
18.
It
Is
does, no,
18
does not work.
good for
That
you?
doesn't work.
It's time driven again. So if it's after hours, that's fine on a weekday.
Yeah, I won't be able to make it. But it doesn't have to be after hours either.
Mhm.
If,
Well,
if the- I
Well,
mean-
it
it
does
has
for
to be
me.
for me.
Oh, okay,
For
all
me.
right.
I've got work commitments, so.
Yes. Good job.
Perhaps the
Unless it's on a
January.
particular Monday, because there's some Mondays where, yeah, I'm free.
21.
The 21, it's a Monday, yeah.
It's fine with me.
I don't know if I'll be in town.
You won't be in.
I won't be in town.
No, actually,
I know,
that's not
We
gonna
need you
work.
to.
Yeah, I think
This is
especially
your
for,
first time.
for, and Lynn as well, it's
Yeah, for Lynn
for the
too.
new trustees that
It's
hasn't been,
'Cause
right.
I'll be out of town those next couple of weeks, the
Yeah,
21st,
December is really
28th.
hard.
The winter break,
So,
January.
No date in December.
you want to look at January?
I won't be here from the 13th, the whole month. From 13.
Okay, so
I'm leaving
before
on
the
13th.
13th.
I have no plans for January, so I should be available.
Yeah.
The first week. I'm-
Throw a date out?
Will we meet on the 19th? Or no, I'm sorry, we meet on the 19th.
We'd meet on the 19th of January. I assume you won't
won't
be
be here.
here.
I'm always not here, except, yeah, except last year, except this year. I will.
Can we put out like,
Is there a date before the 13th that
Yeah,
works?
any date,
But-
except for
I could do
Monday, except
could
for
do-
Monday.
January 5th or the 7th?
7th,
How about,
Thursday,
how about the 5th?
Tuesday, 5,
It might work.
January
Does it work
5.
for you?
I didn't bring my next year's schedule, but let's assume that it works.
Okay, I will,
Write it down, January 5, and then question
Yeah,
mark.
and we still need Lynn, because she should
Yeah.
really be
yeah,
present.
I can ask Lynn and the city attorney if that date works.
And
Um,
it would be 6 PM?
5,
Well,
January 5,
it
On
can be
5.
whatever time you want.
What time is good for you, Arlen?
Yeah, if we can, I can,
Yeah,
5 o'clock, we could.
Oh, 5
start.
o'clock?
5 PM, will
That actually might be a
okay,
good
that's
thing.
good.
There is a city council, a planning commission meeting that night.
It's Tuesday.
Right, there's a planning commission that night. But if we meet earlier, there shouldn't be a conflict, and
We can
they
go-
do staff that with an attorney, so there's at least one attorney around that day.
Ah,
Or we can go anywhere else.
Oh, we could meet upstairs too,
Yeah.
and
It
I'll,
could be in any room in this building.
so I will talk to Lynn. I will talk to the
January
attorney's
5,
office,
yeah.
and I'd certainly, part of my desire was to invite members of the Recreation Commission meeting.
Yes, yeah.
Recreation Commission too, that might benefit from this.
so January 5th at 5.
Is our
right?
tentative date
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
at 5 PM.
At least we got something.
That was fun.
Now, is this a good time to touch on our regular meeting for December?
Sure.
Is that,
But I would,
that would be, if we had one, it would be on the 22nd of December, right?
Mhm.
Or is it the
No,
the
15.
15th, is the third
15 is the third
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
you said you,
You won't be here?
That's unfortunate, yeah.
How about you?
It's a bad one for me.
Yeah, that's,
So,
we may or
As
may
much as
not.
I want to meet in December,
he's the one who wants
I
to-
know, I
And I'm the
know.
one who doesn't want to meet in
Well, I
December.
didn't, foolishly, I didn't look at my schedule until we started
Maybe
talking
we
about
should
dates.
skip December.
I
Oh,
moved,
I-
go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I can find out if Lynn is available that date, and.
If she's not available, then we skip December.
Well, we wouldn't have a quorum, we'd have no choice.
Right.
Because we will have a quorum, yeah, right.
if I still have
Okay.
Lynn. We should be home Saturday, so I'll see you in January, was Lynn's, part of Lynn's email. That was her kind of closing,
Oh.
see you all in January, so
okay.
I'm assuming she's not available next month.
Okay. And then maybe at the January meeting, we can lay out and have a discussion about your meetings for 2016. I know there's been some desire to meet at libraries occasionally. I don't know if that's still something the board desires. If you prefer meeting here, or you like going out on our field trips to the libraries.
Yeah,
but-
I like the field
different-
trips.
Different libraries, yes. It's
Ac-
interesting.
I sort of have a contrasting point of view. I mean, it's not, I think we actually get more public exposure by having this broadcast or available for people who want to check in and watch what's going on. than we get in library attendance. You know, and we can't record anything in a library other than sound. So we just haven't had much of a turnout as we've gone out to the libraries. You know, I don't think it's really added anything qualitatively to our meetings.
Other than giving the trustees an opportunity to see.
Right, that's big
see,
for me.
yeah.
It's to go, because I don't, you know, get out much. I'm always at the Westlake Library. You know, occasionally I'll make it to the John Daly. Sometimes I'll make it into the ceremony. But, so it gives me the opportunity to get out there, get in the branches and, you know, kind of see what's going on, what's been changed. You know, you've got your hold items here now, kind of take a quick look at what's happening in the computer area. So I like getting out to the libraries.
So we have two opinions. We can come forward with a tentative schedule of our meetings in January, and I think the
January.
direction we're looking for is, do we have any road trips or not?
Right. And we can get some input from Lynn, hopefully,
Okay.
at that
Mhm.
point. Another thing
So-
to consider is not trying to hit all 4 libraries in a
Mm.
single year, but instead of meeting every
Now and then.
4th month, every 3rd month, meet every 4th month.
Hmm.
Just as another approach.
I'll tell you what, we will come with a tentative schedule of 2016 meetings, and then it'll be a good starting point for discussion, and then we'll follow and act on it on the schedule that night. In January, it seems.
Sounds good.
Anything else? Oh, okay. How about these flyers?
Announcements.
Announcements, yes. So just brought in some flyers of upcoming events. There's actually a lot of things going on this time of year at the library. The next one coming up is going to be a special Thanksgiving story time, and you can see there's an image on the flyer of the craft that they'll be doing. So trying to enhance the story time with some hands-on crafting activities. We also have a professional performer coming in. His name is Daniel Brush, and he's going to be doing folk tales in the ancient form of shadow puppetry. So it's going to be really interesting. That one's taking place at the Westlake Library on Friday, December 4th at 5 p.m. after dark. And I think that will be a really special program. And then the last flyer is for our second annual Sweet Architecture program, which the kids make little houses out of graham crackers and sweets and frosting, and it's quite an explosion of sugary goodness.
And they'll be
they
flying
leave
all over
very
the place
energized.
after
And
that.
then we have some other fun stuff coming up for which flyers are still in the process. There's going to be Navidad in El Barrio and some other fun things going on at each of the branches. So look at our online calendar for more information.
Are you going to have another parole making? I was suggesting before to Jessica to have another one because it was good. I attended one when they were doing it.
People are always really excited. It's not the kind of
They
thing you
still
can
have
pick
all
up
the
on your own.
equipment,
We have leftover
materials
supplies, so
anyway. Yeah.
I'll check with the staff and see who might be able to put something like that together.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. At which branch did that take place at?
Ceremony.
Ceremony, okay.
Was there any discussion about, I don't want to call it emphasis exactly, that's probably too strong, but the mentioning of Hanukkah and Jewish in this program in terms of sort of focusing on one particular religious group versus, you know, the traditional Christian celebration or a Muslim celebration during some other time of the year? I mean, I'm just surprised to see the mention of religion at all in an official publication and activity.
For us, it was meant to be a cultural celebration. He is an outside performer, and he's coming in to share elements of that culture and do something a little bit different. We do, of course, every year have Santa come to the library, so we have a lot of different cultural celebrations within the library.
Well, they're not identified by religion, though, are they?
No,
Well,
not Santa. Santa is for everybody, I guess.
That's a great point. Not one that we've discussed at the staff level, but, you know, we try to be sensitive and, you know, especially on the recreation side, there are a lot of, it's the emphasis on celebrating the holiday season. Certainly, we have Jewish staff members leading holiday activities that aren't Christian-based.
Right.
But we haven't, I don't recall doing like a Festival of Lights kind of thing or other religious kinds of things, but it's open for interpretation. I know what is sort of become not necessarily religious, you know, icons.
See, I would agree with all of that, but when you put it in print, then I think, you know, it puts a different,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not
It,
sure what
identifies it in a different way.
Let me.
Celebrate Hanukkah and enjoy Jewish,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess if it's just enjoy Jewish winter,
or
folk
even
takes
just
presented.
winter-themed folktales presented by Shadow Puppetry. You know, same person. I mean, I don't know, these may already be distributed.
They
or-
are not. I can have them edited.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's definitely a thought-provoking
Right.
dialogue.
Well, even ask the attorney, get us, you know, a totally objective opinion, you know, would this sort of rub up against any boundaries that we should be sensitive to legally?
No, I agree, and we tend to be especially sensitive on the other side, although, you know, historically, there have been events associated with the city that one could certainly tie to, you know, Christian
Well, I know.
celebrations, but,
Past
Close
practice
for
in the bad, or
Christmas.
poor past practice.
right, doesn't
Should
excuse,
not,
yeah.
you know,
I agree.
influence future practice.
I appreciate the comment.
I think that when I saw it, that somebody presented it to me, one of my staff, I saw it as folktales coming out of the Jewish tradition, not necessarily the practice of any Jewish rites or anything like that. But if we have no interest in hanging out up against the line, and it can easily be omitted.
I think it's worth just a quick check with the attorney, but
Okay.
You want to say anything, Rod? I mean,
No,
I
that's a
see.
good point. And this is like is this the artist's, it could be like themed folk tales by artist and storyteller, Daniel Barash, or it's just the, I don't know. It's I feel where you're getting at though.
Or even celebrate the holidays, you know, with winter folktales, or just, you know, winter folktales, winter-themed folktales. Make it seasonal rather than, you know, anything that would be religious, quote unquote. Anyway, we'll leave it to you guys. I've made my comments. So.
and I appreciate them. Yeah, and really consider that.
Okay.
We tend to be very, very careful.
No, yeah, I read it the same way as Chola did. It's not so much the religion, but just kind of the folk tales and, no, and I appreciate Bill's input.
Well, next time we look
But,
at
yeah,
it
like,
differently.
it could be easily amended. It hasn't been disseminated.
Well, and
or
I think,
shown,
you know,
so-
the difference too, I think one can argue that, yeah, that Judaism is religion, but Jewish culture is sort of intertwined as a culture, whereas, I don't know, you know, maybe I should just punt to the attorneys, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would defer, I mean, certainly if an attorney were consulted and he or she said yes or no, you know, I'd be happy to go along with that. But it's just, you know, the separation that we always try and
Yeah.
maintain
Yes, I
between
agree
any
with you.
state activity in any formal organized religion seems to me to be a little, that we seem to be intruding in that.
I agree.
Thanks.
Okay, so, any more for agenda building for next meeting? Or we already talked about whatever?
Sheila, didn't you have something for the next agenda?
It was just the meeting at the various locations and whether or not you
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
do that.
The
Okay,
calendar,
sorry.
we're gonna work on it.
I think that's it. You know, there's a long time between now and then, so I'm sure there will be, there will be things. You know, hopefully with the extra long break, there'll be something a little more substantive to report on the ceremony bathroom. We'll keep you
Right,
guys
yeah.
posted on it.
And the budget.
And the budget, yeah. So certainly, there will be a lot happening between now and then. And a whole batch of new fun, you know, by then we'll be looking towards spring programs too, so,
We'll have a draft of the annual report.
yeah.
My goodness.
Okay, so the December meeting is tentative?
Yeah,
Question mark
and,
still.
You know, we'll, if we're unable to
We're gonna do the.
attain a
brown out.
quorum, we will certainly, you know, cancel that and post it
Yeah,
as canceled and look forward to meeting with everybody in January.
okay,
Happy holidays, everybody.
all right. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.